Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to get out a quick video talking about the hidden stats for both Dormammu and also the Hood, two new characters that are speculated to be arriving as playable characters next month. We don't know for 100%, but it is very, very likely that both of these characters are going to be playable. So I wanted to do a bit of speculation on their kind of base stats, hidden stats, and that is mainly the crit chance, the crit damage, and also block proficiency. Because one of the things that I've really learned, guys, from Cable is that you can't really do full, well-rounded character analysis and predictions without looking at those base stats, because if base stats are really, really bad, in Cable's case, it can subtract a lot from the character, like crit rate, crit damage, and also block proficiency are also very, very important stats. Like crit and crit damage make up a huge amount of the champion's damage output, and block proficiency, if it's kind of that 60% threshold, you know, on a max character, that is so insanely valuable, because it means when you parry that you are going to take 0 damage, providing you have the character maxed out, because you're going to have the additional 8% block proficiency from your mastery setup, and then an additional 33% from parrying an attack. So being able to parry and take 0 damage is really, really good for the players that aren't god tier interceptors like me. I'm going to get better at intercepting eventually, guys, but I'm not that god tier yet, and I do need to rely on parries for now. Anyway, let's talk about some of the characters in the game and kind of what the baseline average is. So the baseline average kind of for these hidden stats for like a really good character is 21% crit rate, 200% crit damage, and 60% block proficiency. So that's kind of the average in the game, to give you guys kind of a sense of scale there. There are some champions that are kind of above that. Champions like Spider-Man Symbiote, Iron Fist, Electro, Spider-Man kind of have a lot more crit and also a lot more crit damage. They go up to 29% crit and 240% crit damage, but they sacrifice a little bit of block proficiency for that. So I think overall that's a pretty fair trade-off. I really, really like that. And then you have some characters kind of below that, which are just unnecessarily bad. You have characters like Hulk, which have 12% crit rate, 170% crit damage, and then have 50% block proficiency. So you have characters that for some reason, despite not having anything that's super overpowered, just have really, really bad baseline stats. Generally, in terms of the model of these characters, it seems that all of the really large juggernaut type characters seem to have really, really bad base stats for some reason. Like you'll see it a lot on like Venompool, Groot, Thanos as well, Juggernaut, Abomination, Joe Fixit as well, guys. Can't believe Joe Fixit, R.I.P. Red Hulk, Hulkbuster, and also Karnak for some reason seems to be at the bottom. But there are ways I believe he builds up his crit by not getting hit and entering a focused state. So there's something to counter it for Karnak there, and also with Venom gains his kind of like random symbiote buffs, which do increase crit chance and crit damage as you go throughout the fight. So there's a little bit of a counter there. Now, let's kind of bear that scale in mind when we're looking at some of these characters. So we're going to look firstly at the hidden stats of Cable. So this is on all the champions are from the MCOC mod video, which represents a 5-star rank 1 level 1 champion. So this is kind of like roughly determining how it's going to scale up by looking at where, you know, Cable and Wormpool rank. So Cable's a rank 1... Rank 1 level 1 crit chance and crit damage is at 10% and 134%, and Cable has really, really bad base stats. He only goes up to 14% crit and 174% crit damage, and also 56% block proficiency. So with that in mind, guys, let's have a look at Dormammu's base stats, which are even worse. I think he's kind of got the baseline crit chance, crit damage, and also block proficiency of Hulk and Abomination. To me, it seems quite clear that they've gone exactly with the same of those base stats, which is actually really, really bad for the character. That is going to take out a ton of damage in comparison to, you know, kind of the baseline average crit chance and crit damage rate, and also the fact that he only goes up to 50% block proficiency is, you know, it means there's always going to be that 9% window of damage you're taking, even on perfect parries. So that isn't super great overall. Plus he has minus 10% physical resistance. Why is that there? I'm not too sure, but he has it anyway. So that's a little bit bad. However, one of the things that I'd like to point out with Dormammu at the moment, especially in the MCOC video, is that he is like really, really broken in the MCOC video. If you have a look at this this heavy attack here, that he's about to do. So 100 stacks, theoretically, according to his description, that should deal 325% of his attack, which on this character is 1,800 damage. But you're going to see in a second when he does a heavy attack, Let's just wait for it, guys. Let's wait for that magical moment. It's gonna happen. Here it is. It actually deals just under 7,000 damage, so I'm not too sure if that is broken at the moment or if it like multiplies in a bit of a different way. However, that wouldn't, you know, that doesn't have the same calculations as anything else in game, so I'm kind of leading to the assumption that that's broken at the moment because that seems way too overpowered. But you know, if that is the case, if that is intended, if it goes live like that, then Dormammu might be pretty ridiculous. But overall, I think he's going to be quite a fun character to play because of his utility. I'm just very sad that he has such terrible baseline stats. That's really bad. But there's slightly better news when it comes to the hood. So when we look at Gwenpool, so Gwenpool actually has slightly above average stats in terms of her damage output. She's here with a 24% crit chance and also 221% crit damage, which again is ever so slightly above average. So if we look at Gwenpool again, kind of on this rank 1-1, she's got a 21% crit chance, 181% crit damage. Pretty good. But then when we move over to the hood, he seems to have the kind of exact stats to scale perfectly into kind of the average stats that you really want on a champion, kind of the 21% crit rate, the 200% crit damage, and also the 60% block proficiency. So with that overall, I mean, we've done 2 videos if you want to know the kind of abilities and how Dormammu and both the hood work. I think, you know, it's really hard to say without actually playing the champions, but I think the hood, in terms of his actual in-game use and awesomeness, is going to be a little bit of a better champion. However, Dormammu, in terms of his looks and animations and like feel of playing like this absolute god devil of a character, I think that's going to be really cool, really fun character to play. But I'm just a little bit sad that kind of just by those baseline stats that we can see at the moment, he might be a little bit gimped in terms of kind of his competitive use and gameplay. So yeah, I don't see the need to have like super terrible garbage stats on champions that don't kind of make it up in any other way. I guess Dormammu does have some really cool utility, but there are plenty of champions that have really cool utility, that have, you know, these kind of decent baseline stats, and that aren't completely gimped like that. So a little bit upset to see that on Dormammu, but out of the 2 characters at the moment, I'm probably going to have the opportunity to go for one of them as a 5-star, and I think I might go for the hood. I'm probably not going to get it, guys. Realistically, we've been way too lucky, and the calculated chance for a featured 5-star is about 1 in 4. So I feel like luck is definitely, it's all run out now, guys. It is all run out. So I feel like we're going to get Dupe and Iron Patriot when we go for the hood. So that's going to be an incredibly fun opening. But out of those 2 characters, I'm kind of definitely leaning toward the hood. So anyway, guys, what do you think of the base stats of the champions? Has this kind of like changed your opinion on which champion of the 2 you might have gone for? Or are you just going to go for both? Are you an insane arena grinder? Either way, I think they're going to be both very fun and cool additions to Marvel Contest of Champions. So I'm excited to see them come. I'm very excited for the introduction of these characters, hopefully next month, guys. We don't know 100% for certain, but generally, in terms of the release cycle, this is pretty average. Like 2 new champions get leaked, and then, hey, well, they're the 2 new champions that end up coming in the game. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a little bit more about hidden and base stats. Apart from that, take care and have an absolutely fantastic day.